Welcome back, Top Notch Gang. Now, I promise for my Multiversus viewers, I will make a full update review of all the characters, skins, and game modes I think will be coming out on the Multiversus re-release. And this will probably be my last Multiversus video for a while, so let's make it a banger. So like I said, we're going to be going over the new skins I think will be coming, the characters I think will be entered, and the new game modes. And this is only for the day of the re-release. This is all the things, characters, or anything I think will actually be in the game. So let's talk about it. And I also want to preface this by saying this is going to be based off, mainly the characters are going to be based off already leaked spoilers, things in the game that we know have a high chance of coming. They're already in development. I don't want to just do any random characters like Ben 10 that's unrealistic or something. So the characters are going to be more based off what is more knowledgeable and what can actually be ready by the time the game is re-released. But without further ado, let's jump into it. So the order we're going to go in is game modes, then we're going to go into skins, and then we're going to save the best for last, which is characters. So if you want to skip, I'll put the timestamps down below, but I will hope you guys stay for the entire video, as I have a little bit of insight on the game modes and the skins that I think would be pretty cool to add and implement, and I would like to get your guys' ideas and opinions on that in the comments. So play the whole video through. Promise you the characters are coming, but like I said, let's get into it. So the first thing I want to talk about is the new game mode. Now, I mentioned this game mode multiple times, but I thought of putting a new spin, twist, and turns on it. So just hear me out. Now, there's a game called Strikeout. I believe it's in Brawlhalla. Maybe it's in Smash, but I'm not really sure. But I know it's in Brawlhalla, where you have 3 stocks, and each stock is a different character. So it's just essentially is a 1v1 match, but y'all each have 3 different characters. And I think this should be easily a game mode that they should be able to implement into Multiversus that will be so much fun, so different. Like, imagine 3 stocking 3 different characters, or somebody else with only 1 character, or you're down 3-1 and your last character is your best character and you reverse 3 stock them. That just would be so much fun and so different, and just a different variety gameplay and game style to add to the game that isn't already there. Especially once they start adding a lot of characters from multiple different series into the game. Like, think about it, for DC, for example, it's already like 4 or 5 characters. Imagine running an all DC team, or when you get another Scooby-Doo character, all Scooby-Doo, all Adventure Time, and so on and so forth. That just would be cool to see the teams and matchups. And I mention these teams because we know Multiversus highlights its 2v2 gameplay and the ability for characters to help each other out if they're on the same team. So with this Strikeout game mode, I thought they could add assists where you can't just keep using it. But imagine, you know how in a 2v2 game mode, if Wonder Woman's on your team, if she's down special, y'all both get her shield. What if in the 3v3 Strikeout stock battle, if you have Wonder Woman as your second or third character and you're starting off with, say, Batman, Finn, whoever, you could use her assist to get her shield for a little while for the attack. I think that just would be a cool way to implement and show how much they focus on the team help aspect of the game, because we know Multiverse is focused on 2v2 more than 1v1, and I just think this would be a way to stand out from the regular Strikeout mode in Smash and Brawlhalla, and paint a better light on Multiversus and what they're trying to do with the characters' compatibility and ability to help one another out in a fight. So add the ability to use down specials or any type of specials or any type of assist on from one character to another in this Strikeout game mode would just be so cool in my opinion. And that's really the only game mode I could have thought of for them to add, because there isn't much you really could do with platform fighters, but this would definitely be a good start and more variety in the game. Next up, we have the skins. Now, for the second part of the skins, I'm going to be pointing out and talking about individual skins that we know are leaked or coming, or that just would be cool to add to the game, as I pointed out many of those plenty times. Skins that just would be awesome to have. We'll point that out in the second part. But for this first part, I talked about this concept before, and it's prestige skins for all your characters. I feel once you get a character to like level 15, maybe 20, all characters should have a prestige skin recolor. This is just another thing they can add to the game, not only to give every character a skin, a recolor, and something cool. It's something players would actually strive to grind for on every different character, give them a reason to have variety in the characters they play, and to just continue to play the game to have something to grind for. I'm hoping you guys could see on the screen what I mean. I used to have the videos and pictures of all the characters in this same skin type and skin color. It doesn't necessarily have to be the one that's on the screen if it's showing, but just a prestige style skin to have for every character. I think that would be so smart and easy to implement because it's the same skin for every character that there's no way they don't do this by the time the game re-releases. And I feel like this is a big ask in the community, and a lot of people want this, and I think the developers understand that. Plus, I understand that couldn't be their focus while the game was active, while players were playing it. They had balancing, patch notes, servers, new characters. But now with this break and no one's playing it, it would just be cool to have these skins ready to go to earn when the game re-releases. They'll have more time to put in the work to actually do that while not having to focus too much on other things and worrying about what the community is saying because they have the downtime now. Now, as far as skins for specific characters, it's hard to point out what would actually be released, what's real, what's not, what can happen. So for this portion for individual characters, I'll just put a bunch of different skins for a bunch of different characters that have been shown all over Twitter, Reddit, just YouTube, everywhere. There's some for Finn I could show, some good ass Finn skins. There's one for Taz I really like. There's also this guy, Jakey Boy Arch, that do a lot of skin designs, like 4 to 5 per character. He has ones for like Iron Giant. He has ones for Steven Universe, Superman, and just Rick, so on and so forth. So I'll just put a bunch of skins on the screen, and I want you guys to tell me down below in the comments which one you think is the best and would be the coolest to have in the game when it actually returns. I think my favorites easily is the 2 Finn skins, and I don't even like Finn as a character in the game, but if he gets either one of those skins, I would love to play him. The hobo with the tattoo, the little bionic arm, or the lightning, the blue lightning, yeah, those 2 just look amazing. So once again, I'm probably just throwing a bunch of skins on screen for a lot of the characters that's already in the game, whether it's Harley Quinn, Superman, Batman, Steven Universe, Garnet. I'm throwing some Shaggy ones in, Finn, Jake, literally probably as many as I can find. I'll just try to throw them in, and you guys tell me which ones you love, because that's probably one of the few things I can't predict. If they will actually make some of these skins, can he actually make them, and will these be the skins that's actually in the game? So just tell me what you guys like, and now let's move on to the new characters that I'm probably more sure about. Now, starting off, we got to go right into DC, because DC seems to be the property they have the clearest hold on and the ability to add characters from, and I'm choosing 2 from DC for different reasons, and we'll talk about both of them. But those characters are the Flash and, of course, obviously the Joker. And we'll talk about Joker first, as my reason why is more clear and makes more sense, and it's just that Joker was supposed to been the next character released way back in November, December-ish. He was supposed to be announced at the Game Awards. That got leaked, that got delayed. Then we saw his skin and character model get added to the game. We saw sound effects for him get added to the game. And I think my last video before I stopped posting was literally about Joker being released. Also, he's the biggest villain or character in any franchise in history. So he's just one of the biggest, most prominent characters to add. So it makes the most sense he will be in a game by time that it re-releases, and they've already been working on him. I'm pretty sure at the time he is probably done already. They just want to save him and put him in a batch of characters for when the game is re-released. So Joker is definitely gonna be in the game. Now, the second DC character I said was the Flash. Now, it could be between the Flash and Raven. The reason I'm choosing the Flash is I thought initially the Flash was going to be released this summer when the Flash movie was released, but just like they did with Black Adam last year, because it made perfect sense, right? But now that they're re-releasing in 2024, and we don't know if they're getting to the Flash 2 or how the DC universe will move from now on, I feel like there's no timetable or exact time period to release the Flash, and he is one of the biggest heroes in DC and one of the most prominent characters in the Justice League, and it feels weird that he's not there. So I feel like once the game re-releases, he should just be incorporated in the game, because there's no reason to wait around and save him anymore now that the game will be back on servers and back released once the movie has already passed, because I felt like they were saving him for that, and that's just not gonna happen anymore. So I feel like he's an easy character to just do and have on a server. And the reason I was between him and Raven is because we know Raven also already got voice sound effects, moves in the game, etc. She has voice lines with other characters who mention her and so on and so forth. So Raven could easily be developed and coming, but I decided I only wanted to choose 2 DC characters because I didn't want to overload the roster. I wanted to do a certain amount of characters that actually made sense. And if I'm only choosing 2 from DC, it has to be the Flash and the Joker. I'm sorry, Green Lantern fans, but I have to go with the Flash, the Joker. I would love Green Lantern, but just not right now. He's not as prominent as those 2 characters. Another new set of characters that's coming, and I don't know if they'll be separate, if they'll fight as a group together, but it's the Powerpuff Girls. Now, we still have Multiversus leakers that's data mining, going through the servers, and they saw a string for the Powerpuff Girls were already added while the game is in its downtime. So it seems like they're already working on those characters, and like I say, I don't know if there'll be separate characters fight together or how the details of that will work, but Powerpuff Girls are already in talk to be put in the game, and if they're working on them now, I expect them to be done and finished by the time the game re-releases. So that's pretty cool and exciting to see as well. I also want to throw in this disclaimer in the middle. I know people want me to mention characters like Samurai Jack, Ben 10, etc., but I feel like they could have the time to work on those characters by the time they release. But I feel like once the game is re-released, they want to save some of the big prominent names they could add for future drops, so it keeps players entertained waiting for new characters, and it keeps the game lifespan long. Plus, Ben 10 is probably a complicated character to work on. I made a whole video about how hard it would be to implement him and what way they can implement him. So these characters I'm mentioning is more for sure and make more sense, like I said before. And another character I think they can add and implement just to get out the way is Daffy Duck, probably the last and final Looney Tune character they would need, as Marvin the Martian, Taz, and Bugs are already in the game. So adding Daffy would just get that franchise out the way, and I don't think he would be that difficult to implement either. So adding him would just be good for the game in general and fairly easy. Another franchise I think they're bound to add a character for is easily Game of Thrones. We already have the new House of the Dragon they could possibly get a character from for when season 2 starts, but for the original Game of Thrones, the only character we have in the game currently is Arya Stark, and she isn't the biggest or the most important character in the franchise, as they're Jon Snow and Daenerys Targaryen, and even the Hound. I feel like either 3 of them characters could have been added, and I felt like they should have been added when they added the Game of Thrones map. But now, with Game of Thrones already being in the game, I see no reason why they shouldn't have another character in the game by the time it re-releases, because I feel like that's the only franchise that's currently in the game that only has one character. Even Rick and Morty has both of them. Even Gremlins already has Stripe and Gizmo, and so on and so forth. So I think they definitely should add another Game of Thrones character, and they definitely will. Someone else that was already leaked and data mined were actually 2 characters, and I don't know if they would implement them both, but it was Beetlejuice and the Wicked Witch, and they both had sound effects, moves, and voice lines already talked about as leaks, and I think the Wicked Witch is the one that had more, so I would lean towards her. They had the sleeping potions and powders and voice lines towards other characters already around like October, November, the Halloween event around there. So if the Beetlejuice or Wicked Witch is a toss-up, and I really don't mind either of them. I'm not too excited for either. Those just be great additions. So whichever one they implement would be pretty cool. And if both of them was implemented, that just would be amazing, to be honest. And the last two characters I'll mention are for franchises that's already in the game, and that's Marceline for Adventure Time and Scooby Doo for Scooby Doo, because that just makes the most sense to add characters to a franchise that's already in the game and make the roster more well rounded. And people I specifically wanted to talk about in this video are like Samurai Jack, not Rick and Morty, Mordecai and Rigby, and characters like that who I think should and could be added, even Scorpion, Sub-Zero, and so on and so forth. But I feel like those characters are so highly wanted and hyped up that those are characters, once again, that they will save like Ben 10 for new characters in the future coming out next year. I don't think those are characters they just add in right away for us to play with, because they want us to continue playing the game over time. I'm hoping maybe they throw in one of those, maybe a Samurai Jack, to get players back early just to tease us and throw one of them in. But I couldn't justify putting all of them on the list and say they're for sure coming or there's a high chance they are coming. So I just wanted to put characters that actually had a good possibility, and this was the list I came up with. So I think it would look something like this on the screen, maybe more characters, maybe less. Some characters on this list I didn't talk about, but there's two lists I'm showing y'all. It could be characters on either of this list get implemented. I just took the ones I had the most information about and put them on this list. But overall, that's it for Multiverse. Like I said, game mode, 3v3 strikeout, must add. You can add the assist element I was talking about where characters on your team can help you out. That's pretty unique, pretty cool. Like I said, for skins, I'm not really sure which skins they will add individually, but we for sure need prestige skins for every character that's in the game. It could be the same recolor, doesn't matter. Something to grind for or something to work for. And then I already listed off all the characters. Once again, I'll show the two charts. It'll look like something like this, and from this list, this are some characters they could possibly add. I just talked about the ones that was most likely, but like I said, that's the end of this video. Probably be my last Multiversus video until it re-releases or until we get a big piece of new information. But like I said, leave a like, comment, subscribe, and I'm out.